Welcome to the CFL Morning After Week 3 edition on the CFFL channel on YouTube. As you can see, we have a new title screen today. That's one of the few changes we're going to have. We're going to try to be ultra efficient today. It ran a little longer last time than I would have liked. We're also going to add two new features that you'll see. Our sideline reporter today is not here. She's out on an assignment. She's trying to get a big story, the big story that everyone wants to hear about. That's what she's working on. So that one will be in the mail soon. Probably in the next 2-3 weeks, that one will be out. But let's start with our normal thing of looking at what happened this past week in the CFFL. Here we go. First one, we had a big game between the LBM and the Donkeys. LBM won 72-46. It was the upset of the week. The Donkeys were an 18-point favorite. Sidney Rice had his first big game in a while, had 15 points, and Antonio Brown exploded for 22, but it wasn't enough for the Donkeys. The Gargoyles took on the Kongs. Kongs won 70-51 thanks to his special teams. The defense and Justin Tucker combined for 31 points. Unfortunately for the Gargoyles, Colin Kaepernick has not played well after a good week 1. 4 points this week and 10 points in the last 2 weeks combined. Gargoyles fall to 1-2. The Kongs moved to 2-1. The Bone Storm, with another big week, as they took down the Black Dingoes and move into first place. The Bone Storm had a big week from Manning and McCoy. Surprise, surprise, 34 points. Brady had an okay week with 12. The Dingoes moved to 2-1 and fall into second place due to the tiebreaker of points. Next game, we saw the highest scoring game of the week. The Garbage Men took down the Cardinals to pick up their first win. Drew Brees was huge with 26 points. Jimmy Graham for the Cardinals again was big with 19 points. The Horn Dogs played the Badgers this week. Dropped the Badgers to 0-3 with a 62-35 win. The Badgers did not have any players in double figures, and Cam Newton had 24 points, almost single-handedly beating the Badgers. Also this week we saw the Bruisers take down the Sasquatches 52-42. Jordan Cameron, although he wasn't the player of the week, could have been player of the week because he was the biggest surprise. 21 points off a 3-touchdown performance. Andrew Luck and Adrian Peterson combined for 25 for the Sasquatches as they had a good week, those two players. Now we're going to get into some of the awards, see what happened this week. Some big players, some surprise players, the Walk of Shame. So let's take a look at some of that right now. Player of the week this week, as we said earlier, Drew Brees had a huge week. 342 yards, 4 touchdowns, one of them was rushing. Also 21 yards rushing, which I can't remember any time Drew Brees having that. Combined for 26 points. Huge week for Drew. Huge week for the Garbage Men as they got their first win. Now we take a look at Yo Bitch, our top free agent pickup guest this week. I'm going to guess it's going to be Jonathan Franklin, the running back from the Packers. Dan's Donkeys did drop him last week, and he might pick him right back up. He did have 103 yards, 1 touchdown. Hard to say if he will be the guy in Green Bay going forward or not, but we'll have to see. They have a couple different choices they can go with. And then the Walk of Shame. This was a tough one this week because there was a couple people that really had crappy weeks. But Eli, in terms of pure fantasy, did have a crappy week. And also with the amount of stupid pictures of Eli, I couldn't pass it up. 119 yards, no touchdowns, and 2 points as the Giants have just imploded this year. And those two pictures I thought were pretty good. On a separate note, and another Walk of Shame, if he was on a team he would have gotten it, and that was Jacoby Jones for getting smacked in the head by a champagne bottle by a stripper named Sweet Pea, which makes it all the better. Just ridiculous. I haven't heard if that's going to extend his injury time anymore, but that probably further solidifies Marlon Brown as being the man, the number 2 guy in Baltimore. That was just ridiculous. That is quite a Walk of Shame. Pac-Man Jones for getting arrested for the 8th time. That's a choice. Would have been a good choice too. But those guys deserved it, and Eli for sucking the most in fantasy probably deserved it. TJ Spiller also had a chance to get it, but he did get nicked up. So now we're going to take a look at Ruff Scrubs, our usual segment. The thing that we're going to do different this time is I felt Griff usually has a little catchphrase in there, and I didn't feel like I should say it. So I'm going to go with a little something different. So when we get to Ruff Scrubs, you'll hear a little something else this time.
Ruff Scrubs this week. Talk about the Cleveland Browns. Are you kidding me, Cleveland? You trade away a franchise running back year after 15th overall first shot at a franchise quarterback in next year's draft? Teddy Bridgewater, Cleveland quarterback in the future. And he now has the number 1 and number 3 picks in 2012, Lachlan Richardson. I guess Robert Goulet was right when he called Cleveland the mistake by the moonlight.
So we tried a little different voice. Oops, that's not what we want. So we'll see if that catches on. Maybe I'll try a few different voices. I don't know how that's going to sound. So give me your feedback on that. Now for our new features, and we'll quick hit these up. If we're talking about fantasy football, we need to look ahead. This week coming up, we have some big games. The Bone Storm and the LBM are the 2 top scoring teams in the league. Bone Storm are 2-1, and the LBM are 3-0. This week, it looks like the Bone Storm are favored by 36, but it is early, and the LBM might have a few guys on bye. Also, a Super Bowl rematch last year, the Super Bowl 19 rematch of the Cardinals and the Badgers. Both are struggling, both coming off a Super Bowl hangover. 1-2 Cardinals versus the 0-3 Badgers. Big game there. And finally, next week, we're going to be going deep. You'll see what that means. What we're going to do is look at each division and kind of take a look at their depth and maybe where they would make a trade. So next week, we're going to start with the favorite division name that I've come up with, the Dan division, of course, being led by Chad. So we'll take a look at your division first, since we're about a third of the way through, and then take a look and go from there. So that's it. We're going to be going deep next week, and good luck to everyone. We'll see you later. And thanks for tuning in to Week 3 edition of The Morning After.